Hello and welcome to Change is Possible podcast. My name is Ani Filipova and I'm your host. When I left my banking career to try something new, the number one question everyone asked me was, how did you find the courage? The thing is, it's not about the courage. It is about knowing what you want and planning for it. That's why I started this podcast, to help you make your career change possible. Each of our guests have done a successful career change, and we are going to discuss practical advice, actionable tips, and inspirational stories that can help you to get unstuck and transition into work that you love. Let's get started. Hello everyone. My guest today is Eric Sim. He is a key opinion leader in LinkedIn, chartered financial analyst, and the author of the book, Small Actions Leading Your Career to Big Success. Previously, when based in Hong Kong, Eric served as a managing director at UBS Investment Bank and an adjunct associate professor of finance at Hong Kong University of Science and Technology. He founded the Institute of Life with a mission to train young professionals to be successful at work and in life. When I left my corporate career 12 months ago, I was looking for a mentor and a coach to help me launch my portfolio career. And this is how I met Eric on LinkedIn, as he was organizing a session on how to create LinkedIn presence. And I'm very happy to meet today and greet Eric at my podcast. Hello, Eric.
Hi, Annie. It's so great to be on your podcast. And after meeting you 12 months ago, and now I see you flying in terms of career, LinkedIn presence, going to various universities, Forbes magazine. I'm so happy that things have gone, the way it has gone with you.
No, absolutely. Thank you so much, Eric. And you've done amazingly yourself too. Let's start with congratulations for being a finalist in the 2022 Business Book Awards in London. Congratulations.
Yeah, I think we missed each other in Europe. You were in Europe as well. But that was a fantastic event, my first black tie event ever. And for decades, I have not worn a bow tie. The last time I wore a bow tie was when I was a waiter working in a restaurant.
I see. That was a long time ago, right?
Yes, very, very long time ago.
So in your book and in many posts on LinkedIn, you talk about helping your father to sell noodles and all the things that this taught you. Can you share with us? Can we start with this?
Yes. So I helped my father from the age of 12 to 22. So from elementary school up to university second year. I helped him at the start collecting bowls, washing, then later on dealing with money, cooking, and serving customers. I learned so many lessons during that 10 years. One of the lessons that I learned is to be observant. So when I first started, I was very focused on one customer at a time. If this customer is ordering, I'll just focus, take the order, and then give it to my father. My father scolded me. He said that, did you know there was another customer asking to pay? Because at that time, you finish your food, then you pay. And there was another customer who already left, and then the bowls need to be collected. So at the store, we cannot focus just on one customer at a time. Because now people say, hey, we shouldn't multitask. But during that 10 years, I did multitasking. And that is how, when I'm working in a bank and when I'm training young professional, as I'm speaking with my client on the phone, I'm also listening to the juniors' conversation. If they make a mistake, I'll put my client on hold and go there. That's the wrong price you quoted the client, because I need to help my analysts make less mistakes, because it can be very costly mistake. And this is me listening to my own customer conversation, talking at the same time, right? Listening to the people around me, what they say. And my eyes is also looking at Bloomberg News. So in case there's some, flash news, big news, I need to be informed as well. So that was good. And I think multitasking can be trained. Number two is understand people's need. We can read so much just by looking at somebody. So sometimes when petite lady wearing very nicely to come and eat at the prawn noodle store, my father will give 1 spoonful less of the noodle. Just 1 spoonful less. I told him it's not fair, right? People pay the same price. How can you give less? They pay the same price. We need to give them as good an experience. First of all, it's wasteful because my father era, try not to waste food. From so many years of experience, such type of petite lady will never be able to finish. So we are then creating bad experience. If they cannot finish, they feel wasteful. If they try to finish, they feel too full. So by giving 1 or sometimes 2 spoonful less of noodle, it's going to be a better experience for the customer. So this is how much detail we need to go by observing people, how they dress, how they talk. There's a lot of telltale sign what we miss because we say we shouldn't judge a book by its cover. No, you can. Many things can be told by judging the cover. And the third lesson is he remembers people's order. There was once he started cooking and asked me to serve. The customer sat down, I serve. The customer say, I haven't ordered yet. So I say, is your order more yellow noodle, less vermicelli, no prawns, more bean sprout? He said, yes, this is for you. So when this customer was walking towards the store, my father started cooking. And how would you feel when somebody remembers your order? Like, there are a few restaurants that does that to me. The moment I sit down, ice, honey, lemon, because that's my standard drink at that restaurant. You feel appreciate, right? I mean, people bother to remember. And that's how you keep people coming back to you. And then, of course, when I do social media or when I do clients' event, we also need to remember people's preference, or, whether they have kids. All these little details are key in building relationship. And when the relationship is good, you then can do more things. You then can do more sales. You then can have people more willing to come and help you. So I don't want my followers to feel they are just one of the many followers. They are somebody, they are a user. I really appreciate people like you, Annie, when you come and write insightful comment on my post, I try to reply also insightfully to show my appreciation. Yeah, these are the 3 lessons I learned.
Great. And these are, as you say, simple things of life that have universal application. So you learned them when you were serving noodles and they helped you deal with clients throughout your banking career and now during your portfolio career. So it's amazing. We learn all these things very early.
Yes.
And then probably people forget them. Some develop them further and succeed.
Like on Clubhouse, I don't know whether you remember our Clubhouse days. We did a couple of events. And then in the audience, right, I will just welcome people. Hey, Peter from Hong Kong, welcome. Hey, Bridget, the lawyer, welcome. When you say something like that, they tend to stay longer. If you don't call their name, they will leave after 5 minutes. So these are also very useful because once you call their name, they feel appreciated. They try to stay long to support you.
Absolutely. And so how come you decided to study mechanical engineering? How did it happen?
Okay, until that point in life, I was somebody who lacked confidence. So I just follows people's decision. So the seniors around me, they chose engineering. So I chose engineering. And this is a way to say that I'm not wrong, right? Because I'm choosing what the majority is choosing. And then when you are lack of confidence, that's what you do. Yeah, I mean, until that point, everything I was just following people's decision to, even the schools, the secondary schools, the high schools, I was just following seniors, what they do. I didn't have a mind of my own. And more importantly is I didn't have the confidence to make my own decision.
That's very much like me because when I finished school, the one thing that everybody did was banking. So I went into banking. And then you finished mechanical engineering, but you went into banking. Was it that again, following somebody else's idea? Or?
No. So that was the point I say that enough is enough. I cannot lead a life that is so predictable, uninteresting, following people, right? Because if you follow the average people's decision, you're going to have an average life, right? So I decided that, okay, Singapore has got a big financial sector. Why don't I try? It's interesting because I knew nothing about it. Maybe I can do some sales, marketing. I was trying to suddenly go to the other extreme, trying to do sales and marketing in banking. Totally something that I know nothing about.
So you worked in several banks, right?
Yes. Yeah, I mean DBS, then Standard Chartered Bank, Citi, then UBS.
And when you were moving from one job to another, what helped you the most when making these transitions?
For me, I always look out for learning and self-development opportunity. So when I first joined DBS Bank, after completing my engineering, the learning curve is very steep. But I didn't do well, so I decided to restart by doing my master's. So when I came back, I said, okay, what's next? I tried to find back a front office job, couldn't find. It was financial crisis. There's no more derivative structuring. I went to middle office. I did risk management job for 4 years. After that opportunity came, I went back to front office. I did risk advisory. I did the job that I wanted to do, derivative structuring, pricing, option, dealing with black shows. So that was in Citi. I did that for 8 years, moving from Singapore to Shanghai to see the liberalization of Shanghai financial sector. Went to Hong Kong as well. Then, did sales and trading. Okay, next is investment banking. That's when I joined UBS to do investment banking. So always my target is there learning opportunity to me. I have taken a job that I got a pay cut. That I had to take a pay cut in order to get this opportunity. But 2 years later, I got the biggest pay jump in my life. I'm at a senior level and they still give it to me because, I delivered. And because of the years of learning, I can speak to many different type of clients. I can do quantitative analysis. I can do currency hedging and also talk about investment banking, M&A, and the risk involved in M&A. Yeah. And then this is also a way to overcome my inferiority complex. When I feel inferior, the only way to compensate is to have more knowledge. Earlier on, my knowledge is I go and get a CFA certification, I go and get a master's in finance. And recently, during the lockdown, I got myself a graduate diploma in positive psychology. So I have a folder full of certificates. But at the same time, I also like learning on the job. So I learn social media, writing, photography as well. Yeah, got rid of my inferiority complex only in the recent few years.
So you're one of the lifelong learners.
Yeah.
I think that we all have to be, actually.
Yeah, but I actually don't like the word lifelong learner or learning. Because lifelong, right, you feel like it's non-stop. So what I like to do is learn one thing every year.
Okay, that's also very good advice.
Yeah, because then you say, okay, every year, this year recently I learned video editing and video shooting. 4 days, 4 full days to pick it up. I went, so that was 1 year. Another year, I could be learning creative writing. I like to do a mix of this type of classes where I go and attend a class. I also learn from people by working with people. So people like Chris Mathieu. He's my live production manager based out of California. So I learned from him how to set up my Zoom, the lighting as well. Yeah.
Okay, so you had a really successful career in banking and then you decide to leave banking. How this idea came up to leave a bank, great job, and dive into the entrepreneurship?
I wouldn't call myself an entrepreneur, it's just a very small business that I'm doing. But at that time, I was thinking if I was to continue in banking, I know what kind of life I will lead until I die. I will make a bit more money, and what I'm going to use that money to upgrade my car, upgrade my house, go for holidays, maybe take some business class. But that type of life, I can predict what is going to be. It doesn't give me pleasure. It doesn't give me happiness. Because even now, even at like in my career, I always spend below my means. And I know even if I make more money, I'm not going to change my car or house. I'm happy. And then you may know, I'm always in the same clothes, my white shirt, blue suit. I don't have any luxury brands item on me. People are carrying Tumi bag. You know, bankers, they like to carry Tumi bag. I carry a Muji bag. So then I thought, okay, what would be the kind of life? I think the kind of life would be you have the freedom to do what you like, when you like it, and who you like, without the restriction of your employer. So then I thought, okay, instead of one source of income, how about multiple sources of income? Instead of one company with a boss, I said, no, I don't want. I will have a few jobs. Any of this job cannot tie me down. And I will not die because, one is gone. So I teach for 4 or 5 universities. One university, if they are not happy with me and they decided not to engage me, I'm fine. I got coaching clients, and I also write articles. I write my book, and it gives me joy because beside money, we also need fulfillment. With fulfillment, some job give you network, some job give you exposure, some job gives money. And when you put it into a package, then you have money, happiness, and health, both mental health and physical health. You need to have the free time to go and exercise, not 24 hours and then, you sacrificing your health for your wealth. It's not going to be worth it.
I'm absolutely with you on this. This was some of the reasons why I did it also. So when you were planning, can you just walk us through the stages? How did you prepare? How did you execute?
Yeah. So when I was planning, how do I then transit? The very first thing I did, design the logo of my company.
That was the first.
The first thing, Institute of Life, design the logo, print the business card. Institute of Life, business card. When I was still working in a bank, I start giving my Institute of Life business card to test how I feel. UBS MD, you give that card, everybody know what it means.
Yeah.
I give Institute of Life. I didn't even put I'm the founder or CEO because one person, you cannot call yourself a CEO. So I just put chief trainer. Then people start asking me, what is Institute of Life? What is chief trainer? What do you teach? A lot of explanation. Within 5 minutes, I gave up. I pull out my UBS MD card and give it to them. Then, okay, we are back. It means I'm not ready. I'm not ready yet. So I keep doing it. Every time I go networking and I come up with better and better story, and it's also my mission. And then it's a test for myself whether I can accept myself being the chief trainer of Institute of Life. Yeah. And the next thing I did was also to create a company page on LinkedIn, and that's free. So printing business card is very cheap. LinkedIn company page is free. And then you can then add that to your LinkedIn profile if you got approval from your employer. All this is to test your own psychology and readiness. Are you prepared to forgo the big brand name that you have for the last 10 to 20 years?
Wow, this is really interesting. I've never heard this approach before. How did you think about the idea of your company, the idea behind the mission behind the Institute of Life?
The idea is, when I look back at the 22-year-old Eric Sim, no network, little social skills, and family doesn't have a clue what the professional world is like. They are street food vendors.
Yeah.
They have got no idea. Banking to them is the teller counting the money, right? That's banking for them. I said that I cannot be the only one. There must be the taxi driver's daughter, supermarket cashier's children. If I can help them, why not? And also a lot of my students, because I was already teaching in the university, a lot of them come to me to say, hey, I want to join banking. One day I want to be MD. What are the skills that we should have, Professor Eric? Then I went on to LinkedIn to write all this, to write for the 22-year-old Eric Sim and also to write for my student. And remember, now I already have the logo, company page. Then I publish, and more people come, and then from their question, I know what they need. Some more industry specific, some are generic career skills.
So you started all this while you were working, but at one point you decided, okay, that's it. Cutting over to from a stable, high-paying job to not that stable job that, you plan for it, but you don't know how it is going to work. So financially, how do you prepare for this?
Yes. So financially, I bought the smallest car I ever bought in my life. I always buy new car, usually every few years. So this is my probably like number 6 new car in the last 20 years. Yeah, I got the smallest. I was thinking, how would people judge me? Is it a loser because now you drive a smaller car? It's something that you need to overcome. So I overcame that and got not much of a expense. But still, well, we are so used to having a monthly stable income. Suddenly that's not coming in. It feels a little uncertain for the first 6 to 8 months. The feeling is not good. But it's something that we have to go through. And also, I have also some income from my investment, my properties and REITs and stock. So was okay. I know I won't starve to death, and I'm mentally prepared. I just go and sell prawn noodle.
Okay, we didn't get to that, thank God. So once you started Institute of Life and you branched out other things, how did they happen?
Yeah, my Institute of Life is to give trainings. Training at the university, training at some banks. So then people saw my profile on social media because I was posting regularly. Every Tuesday I was posting. And when I started in 2015, right, there were not so many people posting. So I'm especially Asian. So I was the few that people follow and got some followers. People just start coming, hey, can you coach me? Can you coach me about banking? Can you coach me to find a better job? How to be MD? And, there are people, for example, yourself who wants to pivot because they see I pivoted. So coaching came in. At any one point in time, I would have like 5 to 7 coaching clients. Then public speaking, keynote speeches start coming in as well. And recently, I also did KOL marketing. So some financial institution come to me to write LinkedIn articles. And they pay me more than my speech. So if I give a speech, I need to wear my suit, fly there, give a speech, network, fly back. For this LinkedIn article or some other article, sometimes they interview me. I was just wearing my shorts and t-shirt, typing, and put one of my photos. So that is something that I can make in a short time.
I see. And you were talking about LinkedIn a lot till now. Let's focus on your social media and how it helped you become successful. Because you have, I remember when I was looking at your profile, I was thinking, wow, more than 2 million followers, banking, very similar to my background. And there are not that many bankers who have more than 2 million followers. So what was your strategy that you followed and what helped you to become a key opinion leader?
Yeah. Number one, I was writing for my students, and I tend to teach and speak at the world's top university. I was giving a talk at Cambridge. So if the Cambridge student follow, the other students will follow. I was also teaching at Tsinghua, Beida. These are the top 2 universities in China. The other people follow. And I was writing with some Asian flavor because I've got my work experience in Asia. So sometimes it's me traveling to India, me traveling to Beijing. I'm writing for them. China and India, these are 2 big markets. They have content which they can resonate with. So as I have more and more followers from university after I give these speeches, then the other people start coming in. Of course, I write regularly. Now, these days, I write every Tuesday and Thursday for the last 7 years without fail. Whether I'm sick, you cannot imagine 7 years to be all smooth sailing, right? In your life, 7 years, family issues, somebody passed away, you fall sick, you're hospitalized, but still I keep at it. So there's consistency. And most important for me is to be able to share personal stories with universal application. So stories is good, but it is even better if it's your personal story. So rather than just teaching people, okay, write consistently, anybody can say. But for me, I write consistently for 7 years, rain, shine, hospitalized, somebody passed away, in my family, I still write. And universal application. So every story must have an application for the reader. What can they take away? It's not just entertainment. So I don't do entertainment. I don't post a funny video. That one, I leave it. There are many people who post, so I leave it to them. For me, I'm in a position to teach. I'm in a position to share. This is my duty to share this. And very fortunate I have got followers who have been following me for years. There are followers, 7 years already, still following. Because I try to also keep the theme around career and life, but yet with variety. Variety means I can do LinkedIn Live, I can do podcast, I can share a podcast, share a YouTube video, and different countries. Like recently I went to Europe, I went to Istanbul, Madrid, and London. Again, about career, but the setting is different.
Okay, so consistency, keep personal
stories
with universal application. That's a phrase that you have that I love because it's so common sense. I wonder how not more people kind of follow that, because it makes everything much more interesting and relatable. When we're talking with you and when I look at your LinkedIn profile and everything seems like you had everything figured out and everything flows perfectly and everything is great, but that cannot be. Life is not so perfect. So my next question is about that period or moment in your career when you had to really draw your strengths to keep going. What was that lethargic moment that?
Yeah, I have got a lot of failures, a lot of setback, rejection throughout my career since day one and until today as well. And one kind of a rejection or setback that I faced was after leaving UBS, I was trying to set up training. So I was asking my ex-colleague, ex-client from banking to send me their people for training. I'm charging like 1,000 US, maybe 1,000, maybe 800 US per person, 2 days training, teaching everything that I know. It's very worth it, right? If it's like 800 to 1,000, but it's really begging people because people say, oh, the timing is not right. I didn't have headcount, I didn't have budget, my staff fall sick. So you suddenly realize that actually we are not as good as what we think we are. Previously, when we work in corporate, things are easy, right? You got a big corporate behind you, you got a big business card, you got secretary, you got big conference room. For me, I need to go and find a room, and if you don't pay, the room that you get is going to be very lousy. You need to set a time. Do you set as weekend or weekday? Some people prefer weekend if they are paying on their own. Some people prefer weekday because they can then claim from the company. So all these decisions I have to make. At the end, I sign up only like 5 people. I have to cancel the course. It was very, very sad. I was already so confident because I'm giving so much free stuff. There should be demand, but no. And I just waited more time, built my brand a little bit more, maybe do a smaller group, do more coaching, and then so now I just work with my partners, whether CFA or university or insurance company, rather than doing kind of a B2C.
We are at the end of the podcast. It was so interesting to listen to you, although we've spoken so much. Still, we are talking and I'm just listening as if I hear all this for the first time. But can we end this with your 3 pieces of advice, the key piece of advice for people who are thinking to pivot their career, and what should they do?
Yeah, I have got 3 social. Number 1, build your social capital. years before you pivot. And social capital is the goodwill that you have accumulated over the years. You're buying a coffee, you're helping people without expecting them to pay you. And that goodwill, that social capital is going to come into play after you pivot. Because when you pivot, you need all this goodwill to come. Oh, you wrote a book, let me buy 10 copies. I got friends who did that. That was because I built the social capital years before. It's not starting from today, because this one takes time. So that's number one, build your social capital. Number two, build your social media. When you pivot, you need to do marketing. A lot of people have the best product, best ideas, but nobody knows. My book, some people say is really good, but without my social media, who knows, and then who's going to buy? My publisher wouldn't even publish if I didn't have a social media presence. And whatever you are selling, it's always good to use your social media to help market it a bit, because you know what your product is, and people usually buy you before they buy the product. So social media is key. Third is build your social network. Try to know more people and people that you can collaborate with. When you pivot, if you're alone or just 2-3 people, it's not enough. You need to collaborate with photographer, video editor, podcast producer. You need to collaborate with like another speaker to do your work. People who are good in social media but may have a different audience. Good in public speaking, can also invite you to their events, and could be event organization who can give you free event space. So the 3 things: social capital, social media, social network.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you so much. It was great having you, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you, Annie. I'm looking forward to doing more podcasts with you.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you want to be notified of future episodes, please hit the subscribe button. I would love to hear your feedback. Please write a review whenever you can. Thank you and have a great day.